Restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Opportunity Project and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan, back with Kristen McQueary from the Tribune Editorial Board on this edition of Rising. And Kristen, earlier in the show, we were talking to Tom Morrison about sort of the political landscape at the state level, the state of the governor's race, potential down-ballot impact. You give us your sort of handicapping at present of the mayor's race. How do you handicap the governor's race and then, most importantly, Mike Madigan's hold on control of the House?
I think it's going to be pretty ugly.
Pretty ugly for who?
For Republicans and conservatives and people who want to see pro-growth policies and people who want to staunch the exodus of businesses and residents. The governor's race to me is just unbelievably quiet. You have two billionaires running, and I don't know if they're just going to go over our heads and buy a bunch of TV ads, and that's how they think they're going to win. But normally at this time in a gubernatorial campaign, you are getting daily calls from press people. They're having rollouts of policy positions. They're jumping off of national news stories and trying to get some free media. You're not seeing that on either side. And I think because it sort of feels to me like Rauner's almost given up. And so J.B.'s not really doing anything either. He's putting out these Rauner failed me stories. But, we just got property tax bills. Why aren't they using that as a jumping off point? Why isn't Rauner using that to talk about his proposals to freeze property taxes? It feels very dead to me right now.
Yeah.
And maybe it's too early. Maybe I'm just...
Well, I think does it have something to do with the fact that you have two candidates with all the charisma of an oil painting?
I don't know if I would agree with that. I think the first time around when Rauner first ran, you had a pretty clear idea of the pro-growth policies he wanted to enact. And he was pretty forceful in a room with Pat Quinn back then. I think he's really been just through the ringer. It feels to me, like I said, that he's kind of given up. And actually, J.B. is a pretty sparkling person when you see him out and about, and I've heard him on interviews.
Like at the fudge store?
Parades. I've heard him do various television and radio interviews. He's not bad on his feet. He
could get to his feet.
I
got a million of these, so just keep going.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to put like a swear jar here. And every time you comment on someone's physique, whether it's Hillary Clinton's cankles or JB's girth, you have to put some money in the...
Girth?
You have to
that's
put
generous.
some money
every
in the swear jar.
Time you use a ridiculous euphemism to describe somebody that you can only really get a sense of from an aerial shot.
Stop.
I told you. I keep going.
I already know. I don't even know where I was going.
You're talking about how quick JB is on his feet.
Right. He has more of an everyday, everyman persona than lots of politicians in this state. Certainly more than the Cullertons, the Madigans, the Rahms. He is a multi-millionaire, billionaire, but he kind of gives you that feeling of knowing the struggle of the everyday person. So again, maybe it's early. Campaigns aren't going to really ramp up and get crazy until after Labor Day, but it feels quiet to me.
What about the landscape at the state house level, Madigan in particular? Again, in terms of talk about quiet or something seeming to fizzle when there's national momentum in a particular direction, and I don't know, it's just the momentum that never seems to come here. Me Too in Madigan. Mm-hmm. That seems to have sort of quieted down over the summer, and at least some of the numbers I've seen sort of reinforce what you're suggesting. It's a pretty tough landscape for Republicans in Chicago, in suburban Cook and the Collars.
It is, but it doesn't have to be. We are an outlier for every other state. And if Republicans were continually pounding the drum with Rauner leading the pack, that a vote for Democrats is a vote for higher taxes, more exodus, more strain on state finances, I think they could make some headway, but they're just not even doing that I've seen.